Hey, welcome to the channel. My name's Mike, and in this video, I'll be showing you how you can earn $12,700 per month, or even more than that, honestly, with a lawn care business. Now, if you start a lawn care company, there are many reasons that we think there's a lot of opportunity here. The first one, and I'll get into the math in a second, but the first one is that it is a very scalable business. So the number I estimated right there, $12,700 per month, that is based on just you working alone. And so you can start off alone either on a side hustle, if you just do this after work, which we would probably recommend, and you scale up until you quit your day job. But if you're working alone, you can just have a small lawnmower. You don't need a multi-$1,000 zero-turn lawnmower. You can have a push mower, honestly, you really can. Then you can scale up to get a larger lawnmower. You can have multiple people, you can get corporate clients. It's very easy to start very, very small and scale up with a lawn care company. So that makes it a really ideal business to get into. The second reason we like this is because there is a bit of a barrier, and that's why a lot of people don't want to mow their own lawn. They want to hire somebody else. So sometimes people don't have storage, they don't want to have a lawnmower in their shed, or they just don't feel like doing the work. And in all of those situations, which we see more and more common right now, people want to hire lawn care companies. They'd rather spend their Saturday or their Sunday doing something else that they think is more fun, and instead hire somebody during the week, for example, to come by and mow their lawn. So the third reason that we really think lawn care companies are very opportunistic right now is because they have repeat customers. Rather than always looking for new customers, the marketing costs are substantially lower if you're able to capture and maintain customers. And with that, you're going to have a weekly customer basically, or you can have bi-weekly. There's different models. We'll talk about that later on in the video, but what is this video actually going to be about? I'm not going to show you patterns on how to cut the grass and different techniques with actual mowing. That can be a video that, there's tons of other videos out there. This one is really focusing on the back end, because even though most people think the most difficult part is actually going out and doing the work, the first couple years, the most difficult part is not actually the mowing, it is finding enough clients to fill your schedule so you can actually make that $12,700 per month. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'll be showing you some of the most effective and the easiest ways to do that, including making a website, Facebook business page, all the ways that customers can find you, that can contact you, and really setting up the back end, the infrastructure for your business to be successful. So we're gonna cover a lot in this video, from choosing a name to making a website, setting up legal structure there. Of course, this video is by no means legal or financial advice. These are things that we've done in the past, and yes, Nate and I have actually set up our own lawn care company. It's something we did way back in 2016. I'll see if I can find a photo of us doing that. Maybe not, but we did this a long time ago. It was one of the first businesses Nate and I actually started, and again, there's a lot to it. So with that being said, let's head over to my laptop. Everything's really going to center around your website. Whatever kind of marketing you're doing, whether that's email, Facebook, whatever, it all points back to your website. So you need to have a good foundation for a good website to get customers to come to you. So with that being said, starting off on my laptop, we can just go to a new tab on our browser and type in santrelmedia.com/hostinger, or you can click on the link in the top of the description, and that way we all start off at the same location, and you're going to be able to follow along with the rest of this video. So santrelmedia.com/hostinger, hit enter, and you can see right here, Hostinger is relatively affordable. Now, before we just dive in and start putting our credit card in different things, I want to explain what Hostinger actually is. So we're going to be making a website using something called WordPress, which powers about 1/3 of the internet. It's a really popular way to make a website. And when you make a WordPress website, you can think of it as like a Word document, for example. If you're typing a Word document, the actual document would be the equivalent of your website. What you're typing on, so Microsoft Word, is the equivalent of WordPress. But if you just close out of Microsoft Word, your document goes away, right? And you lose all of your work. So you need somewhere to save that, whether you're saving that on your computer, on a little flash drive. Where you save it is the equivalent of where you host your website. So Hostinger is our host. That's the equivalent of a flash drive or a hard drive for a Word document. And so we're going to make our website. We're going to save it on Hostinger. They're the host for our WordPress website. And that way, when other people go to visit our website, it's always going to be online, even if our computer is turned off and put away. So with that explained, let's go. And you want to click on the top to where it says hosting, and you want to go down to WordPress hosting. And that'll bring you to this page right here. If you click start now, or if you just scroll down, you see we have 4 different options here. I usually recommend the WordPress starter one, the one that's actually the most popular and highlighted anyway. You don't really need the more expensive ones. You're not making 100 or 300 websites. You probably don't need 200 gigabytes of storage for a lawn care company website. And there's a lot of extra bonuses that you probably don't need. So the most popular one, the WordPress starter, in my opinion, has really the foundation of what you need. it gives you a little more that you don't have on the basic model or basic version here. For example, you will get a free email. You're getting a free domain on here as well. So all those are going to save you money. And by free email, I mean rather than being like mikesLawnCare@gmail.com, you can be mike@lawncare.com. So clicking on that one, you can see we have, again, more options here. So you save the most money if you pay for 4 years at a time. Obviously, that's $190. So not super cheap, but compared to other websites, that is kind of cheap. I don't know. I usually don't go quite that long when I'm starting a new business. I usually go for 24 months. I find that's the sweet spot. So once we select the time frame we want, I'm just gonna go with 24 months right now. We can scroll down, and when you see this little thing that says have a coupon code, we can click on that and type in Santrel to get an additional 10% off. This is a one-time thing. So again, if you're getting a longer window, like 4 years, for example, it's going to be even more worth it. And then we click on Submit Secure Payment. And that's gonna ask us to set a new password. This is your password for Hostinger. In a second, we will make a separate password for WordPress, which is where we're gonna build the website, and I'll show you all of that stuff once we get there. And then it's gonna say, what are you creating your WordPress site for? You could say yourself or whatever. You could just skip this. Honestly, it doesn't really make a big difference. And then on the bottom, it's going to say create a WordPress account. This is what I was saying, where you wanna make either the same password or a different password. This is going to be how you actually sign in when you're editing your website itself. And then it's gonna ask what look you prefer. This is going to be a theme, and we don't actually need a template right now, so we're gonna skip that, and we're going to have to go to naming our website. Now, if you have an existing domain, maybe you bought it a while ago, you can connect it here. If you don't already have that, I highly recommend just buying a new domain directly through Hostinger. I find that's really the easiest way to do things. Rather than having to point your domain, your DNS and everything, just buying it directly through here saves you a lot of time, and the price is really essentially the same. But what I like to do is I go on domains.google.com, I type in the website or the domain that I think I want, and then it can help me find one that is available, and then I go back and buy it through Hostinger. Like I said, it's just so much easier to buy directly through Hostinger and not have to connect the domain to the actual website. But let's just say that we're on Google Domains and I want to be, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can choose a name. You could choose your name such as a location. So if you are in like Bala Cynwyd, right outside of Philadelphia, you could be Bala Cynwyd Lawn Care Company or Manny Young Lawn Care. Secondly, you could do your own name. I don't usually recommend using your own name, although it's easier to get started. It is a lot harder to sell your business if you ever decide you want to retire and somebody else is going to take over your business. They might not want to operate under your name. Now, the third thing that you can actually do is actually make either a fictitious name or some name that's somewhat similar-ish, so it could be a totally different word that is kind of related. So for example, you could be like Green Thumb Lawn Care Company or something like that. And so it's kind of, it's similar enough, and if it's available, that could be a memorable and easy name to use. But what you don't want to use is something super generic like Lawn Care Company or the Grass Cutters, right? Because that's going to be a lot harder to actually trademark and actually file a lot of your stuff, and it's more likely to be similar to other companies out there. But let's just say, for example, I want to be MannyYoungLawns.com. Maybe I'm in Manny Young, Pennsylvania. I want to cut the lawns around there, and MannyYoungLawns.com, you can see exact match. Google's charging $12 per year, which means on Hostinger, it's probably going to be maybe $13 per year, but again, saves you a lot of work. Now, what I recommend doing is going to a new tab and just search on Google, search on Google, and we'll say Manny Young Lawns. We'll just say Manny Young Lawn Care, right? Manny Young Lawns, and see if that's going to actually show up with anything. And you can see we've got some ads on the top. We've got some different names that are not specifically Manny Young Lawns. And so from a Google search, it's looking like this is probably pretty available. It's probably not something that we have to worry about. But another thing I recommend doing, again, go back to your Google search bar and type in the state that you live in plus LLC lookup. And so every state should have something. Pennsylvania has search business entities, something I've done many times in the past. And you can just type in like Manny Young Lawns, or you could type in just Manny Young or just Lawns, and you'll find out. So first of all, Manny Young Lawns, it's available in Pennsylvania. That's great. But what if it's like Manny Young Grass Company, right? Like we want to make sure that we really cover our bases here. So just typing in Manny Young, you can go down and just look through all the names here and see if any of them are related to lawn care. So you can see we've got some like a railroad company, we've got Manny Young 4 LLC, whatever that means, athletic club, and let's go down closer to probably the letter L, landscaping, lawns, things like that. And once we get back to the letter L, you can see that it looks like we don't have anything. It looks like we're clear. There is no Manny Young Lawns, no Manny Young Landscaping. We're probably okay for this name. So back to our first tab with Hostinger, we can go and click on Buy a Domain, and then the domain we want is going to be MannyYoungLawns.com. Santrel.com. We'll say search, it's probably going to be available. There we go, it's actually $7 per year, which is great. And you'll notice right here that it's not giving it to me for free. I know I said it was going to be free. The reason that I'm having to pay for this is because I only chose the 1 month hosting plan. If you chose anything more than I believe 1 year, so if you chose 12, 24, or 36 months, or 48 months rather, then you should be getting your domain for free with that plan. But again, because it's a tutorial, I'm just gonna pay for it right now. And you can choose, again, how long you wanna have this. I'm just gonna do it for 1 year, as short as possible, because again, this is a tutorial. I'm just throwing my money away on this to teach you how to make a website. So something right here you can see is it asks if you wanna add who is privacy. Now, depending on what your business is for, sometimes it makes more or less sense to add this. If you're only using a business address, a business phone number, and things like that, you probably don't need who is, but it might still be beneficial. It kind of isolates your website from your own information, like your home address, your email, your phone number, things like that. So adding the privacy, I think, is usually worth it. Again, $5 per year for that extra added privacy. Then it's going to ask for some contact details. Of course, to set up your website, you need to have that actual information. Even though you have the privacy, you still need to register and have your own information registered with the domain. All right, and then it says manyunklawns.com is being registered. You'll probably have to open up your email and confirm something. Usually there's a confirmation link to verify you have the right email. And I'm going to say finish setup right now. And while this is actually making our website, so this usually takes a couple minutes for Hostinger to actually do this, I'm going to go and actually set up the LLC. Now, like I said, this is by no means legal or financial advice. I'm not telling you what to do. Always consult a lawyer, an attorney, whatever. You guys know. But this is something that we usually like to do. Setting up an LLC has quite a few benefits. The first one is that an LLC is a limited liability company, so you're limiting your liability. And that essentially means you're isolating yourself from your business. So if something happens with your business, if you're mowing, a rock flies through somebody's window, they try to sue you, and for some reason you didn't have insurance, which you should have insurance. But if you don't have insurance, they'll sue your company, but they can't take your own property. They can't take your own house. They can't take your own, all of your own, like your 401k, stuff like that. That's separate because there's a limited liability company. They're going after the company, not after you. So that's the first reason. The second one is, of course, for just basic accounting reasons. It's so much easier to have a separate bank account so you can track your profits, your losses, your revenue, everything going in and out of a separate account. Totally different from your home account. It's really a lot easier to manage that. And the third thing is by setting up a business entity, specifically an LLC, you really have quite a few options with what kind of financial stuff you have available. So by that, I mean, if you want a business bank account, a business credit card, a lot of times business credit cards have different perks, like for example, the ability to have employee cards and things like that. There's many benefits to having an LLC. And so that's why I'm going to show you one of the easiest ways to set it up. So if you go in a new tab and go to santrelmedia.com/inkfile, or if you just use the link below for inkfile, they're a really easy way to set up your LLC. Now, there are many easy ways out there. Like I know LegalZoom and things like that. A lot of times they're upwards of $1,000. We found inkfile is one of the most cost-effective way of doing this, where they have 3 different tiers. One of them is literally just the state filing fee. Like they're basically doing it for free for you. And the only extra fee you might pay on there is for like postage or whatever they might end up doing. And so from there, the reason that they even have it for that option is because they want to upsell you on their other services. I usually recommend their mid-tier one. I'll show you that in just a second. So you can, again, click on the link. It'll take you there. And we're going to go and click on the orange button that says Start My Business. So that should take you to this page right here, asking you what kind of entity you want to start. We're doing an LLC. Of course, you could do an S corporation, C corporation, whatever. And we're going to go find Pennsylvania. And then here's the 3 different tiers I was talking about. So silver tier really is just the core features, basically just the state filing fee. Technically, state filing fee is $125, but the extra 6, I believe, is going to postage and things like that. Then we've got the gold tier, which is going to, it's the one I usually recommend. You definitely don't need platinum, for most people at least, because you don't need, they've got a domain and a website and things like that. We're not doing that. We're doing it through Hostinger. So here, the gold package is going to give you things like IRS Form 2553, which allows you to file as an S corporation. I'm not going to bore you on that one too much. You get an EIN, which is free, but again, doing it automatically here makes it very easy. You've got an operating agreement, which is going to be necessary for setting up bank accounts and things like that. It really does a lot for you. So it's a little bit more expensive, an extra $150, but with that, you're getting a whole suite of different things that really make your life a lot easier. And then in return, you could just focus more on getting better at mowing lawns and actually finding clients rather than all the back end learning how to. I've done this by hand before. I've done this without ink file, and trust me, it really is a lot more work, especially the first time you do it. So let's go and click on, I'm just gonna click on the gold one. From there, we have to input some information, our name, email address, mailing address, payment information, and it's going to, now this one is surprising to a lot of people. A lot of people don't realize how long it takes for the state government to get you your filing. I filed directly with them. Usually, I mean, at least it used to be maybe like 4 weeks you would get it. I believe they're a lot slower now. They're pretty understaffed. And so now it's saying 50 business days if you expedite it, and actually 12 weeks if you don't. So 50 business days, that's still about 7 weeks there. So that's no short amount of time either. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna go with the 12-week filing time and just hope that we get it sooner than that. But either way, the sooner you file, the better. That's why I wanted to do this early on the video so you can get that business set up as soon as possible. It's gonna ask for some company information. Of course, company information, you're just gonna choose your name, and we already searched the LLC before, so we know this is going to be available. So it can be Manayunk Lawns, LLC. We can choose the number of members. We can choose the business purpose down here. So it can be a lawn care company in Manayunk, Pennsylvania, or in the, actually, let's just say in the greater Philadelphia region. And then it's gonna ask if you wanna have a virtual business address or use your own address. And because lawn care is really something that's more specific to a specific region, like you don't wanna have a Pittsburgh address if you're a lawn care company nowhere near Pittsburgh. So I really don't recommend getting the virtual address. I recommend just using your own address. If you don't want to use your own personal address, maybe you can get an office somewhere or a mailing box, for example. Not a PO box, but like a UPS box or something like that, for example. I'm going to use my own address right here. We're going to say we're in Manayunk. We're going to go down and choose, it's going to offer a whole bunch of things. If they're trying to upsell you to the platinum package, I'm going to say no thanks on this one. And from here, it's going to ask who actually owns this company. You can be an individual or a company can own a company. That's something if you have a shell company, that's something a lot of people end up doing. But I'm just gonna say, I'm the only one owning this company right now, single member, and we can go down and click on continue. And something to keep in mind is it's really important that you set this up right and truly separate yourself from the business. There's something called the corporate veil, which essentially is this separation between you and your business. And if you pierce that, if you're using too much of your money in the business or the other way around, then they can treat you and the business as the same thing, and essentially an LLC becomes useless. Now, the next thing, they're gonna ask if we have a registered agent. This is really why you definitely cannot use something like a UPS box or a USPS box for everything, because here, this is for process of service or service of process. I always mix that up. Essentially, if somebody's going to file a lawsuit against you, they're gonna show up with the papers and say, hey, you're being sued, here's a stack of papers, and you need somebody to be there to receive that. So if you have a real address and you have somebody there all the time, that would be an ideal way to do this. Or you can assign Inkfile as your registered agent. Again, it's free for an entire year here, and they will contact you because they have an office, and they'll say, hey, somebody showed up, you're being sued. And so that's a more convenient way to get a little extra privacy and to not always need to use your own address for everything, especially if you're not always going to be home. So I'm just gonna go with my own address right now. We're gonna say next. And from there, it's going to ask for our EIN or tax identification number. So your social security number in this situation, because it's an individual, not a business owning this business. So we're gonna say social security number there, physical street address, click on next. And they're gonna ask you if you wanna set up a small business bank. I don't recommend doing that right here. You can if you want, of course, but I usually go to a local bank wherever you are because it's easier to deal with people and get to know them. It's just a lot easier for a local business to use a local bank. Then they're gonna ask if you want a tax strategy or free consultation related to tax strategy. I'm gonna say no for this right now. Of course, they're gonna try to upsell you on this in the future, but I'm just going to say not interested at this time. Click on next. Business permits, another thing, trying to upsell you another $100. I say no to this one. I'd rather do the research, figure out what the business permits are, and then actually go and do them myself, because I've never actually paid for them to find the business permit. I think what they do is just give you the application and then you do it yourself. Either way, click on next. Eventually, you're gonna get to the page where you can put in your billing information and actually click on order, and your business will be getting set up in the background. Once we do that, we can go back to the first tab and see if Hostinger is hopefully done making our website. Back on Hostinger, you can see right here that if you scroll down, or if you just click on home, make sure we're all on the same page here. If you click on home, you can scroll down, see it says hosting, WordPress starter hosting, and we can click on Edit Website. But before we go too deep into that, there are a couple back-end things that I like to do. For example, I like to set up daily backups. I like to set up an SSL. And so we can actually click on Manage first before we go and edit the website. It'll take you to this page. If we scroll down, we should see, I believe the first one is going to be daily backups. So right there you can see backups if we click on backups. So from here, I recommend clicking on add daily backups. This is, again, going to cost you a small amount of money, $1 per month essentially. And it's something that I always do this with every website because you never know, especially when you're new with websites, if you accidentally click on one thing and then you click off too soon or something happens, you could break your website. You could lose a lot of work and it could be really difficult to recover what you lost, or even more work to have to rebuild your entire website. So having a daily backup automatically saves it. So if you go in there and start editing your website, then you break something, you can just say, oh, you know what, never mind, I'll just go back to yesterday's version of the website. And just like that, everything's going to be ready to go. It's something I've used so many times, even as somebody who's been building a lot of websites, it's still so useful to have that. You never know when you update some plugin and the plugin goes haywire. It's nice to have this. So I'm not gonna do it for the purposes of this tutorial. Like I said, I'm spending a lot of money already on this, but I highly recommend you guys do that. Let's go back to where we were. So if we just click the little back button there. Continuing down, the next thing is actually SSL. So our plan should come with SSL for free. So if we click on SSL, that is going to be your encryption, essentially a little lock icon on the top. So you can see right there, the little lock icon that shows up. It tells your visitors that you are serious and this is a safe website. It's not malicious and you actually take safety seriously. Now, of course, it doesn't guarantee it's not malicious to them, but it's a basic practice that a lot of people look for when they visit a website. And in fact, if you don't have it, most browsers will warn the visitor. It'll pop up and say, warning, this is not a safe website. So something super easy. I'm just gonna click on Install SSL. You really don't have to do anything, pretty hands-off here, and in a couple minutes, the SSL will be installed, and instead of HTTP:/ our website, it's gonna be HTTPS:/ our website. So a little subtle thing, again, I love doing it early on in the beginning right here, before building out the website. It makes it easier further on down the road. So I'm gonna click on close. We should be all set then. And let's go back to home. And from here, we can go down and click on edit website. But I want to show you another probably more useful way to get to editing your website. Rather than clicking on right there, you could open a new tab and just type in your website. So mannyyounglawns.com/wp-admin. So WordPress administrator is basically what that is. And if you hit enter, they're going to ask you to sign in to your WordPress account. And so this is the second password. Remember earlier on in the video, I said you have a second account just for WordPress. So I'm gonna type that in right now. So this is the WordPress dashboard. Like I said, if you go back and click on edit website through Hostinger, it'll take you to another place. You can click on edit website. It'll take you to, trust me, exactly the same page. But from here, this looks like an intimidating dashboard. But I promise I'm gonna show you what everything is. We're gonna clean it up, get rid of a lot of the junk you don't need, and make it a very easy way to edit your website. So starting off with the left side, we have all these different things. This is basically your menu where you get to different portions of the editor. So this is where you can edit posts, like blog posts, for example. This is where you can edit pages, such as your home page, your about page, things like that. Media is going to be where you can upload the images that you want to use on your website. It can be images, documents, videos, really anything, honestly. Comments is going to be if you have a blog post and people leave a comment below, which I generally just don't enable. I disable that anyway because there are a lot of spam bots out there, but that's where you'd engage with comments. And then down here we have some plugins. So the way WordPress works is it's a great software and you can build a website, but you can get plugins, kind of like apps on your phone, that enable it to do a little bit more. So you've got some that, for example, have like forms. Somebody could fill out like their first name, last name, and email and hit submit, and you collected the information. That's what a form would be. We've got other things, but there's too many. There's too many that we don't need right now. So if we click on plugins, let's clean this up and get rid of a lot of the plugins that we don't need right now. So what I like to do is go down and we see obviously a ton of them right here. And let's say the ones we don't want. So I don't really want the anti-spam one. I don't need the all-in-one SEO. I don't need that one. We're not migrating a WordPress site anyway. Google Insights, I will keep that one. I like Monster Insights. Hello Dolly, we can get rid of that one. A Hostinger, I'm gonna leave that one. That's actually nice to have. Lightspeed Cache, Opt-in Monster, and WordPress Forms Lite. I don't need any of those, so we're gonna check the boxes on the ones we don't like, click on Bulk Actions and go to Deactivate. We're going to click on Apply, and that will deactivate all of those, meaning that it's no longer on the side, but they still exist. We just don't have them here. But now let's actually delete them as well. So if we click on inactive, all of the inactive plugins show up here. We can click on the little box next to plugin to select all of them, go to bulk actions, click on delete, and click apply. That will get rid of all these plugins. Like I said, you don't want too many plugins. The more plugins you have, the more surface area your website has for attacks and for just bugs and bad things happening to your website. So I like to get rid of as many as possible. All the ones I don't need, just get rid of those. So from there, we can go back to all. We've got 2 plugins. That's great. And now we're ready to start making our website. So when you're making your website, the first thing you need is a theme. We're gonna get a theme. We're gonna get a way to build the website, like a really easy drag and drop editor, super easy. It's like making a PowerPoint, for example. And then we're going to get a full template that's actually going to make your website pretty much all complete. And all you have to do is change the text to your text, like the name, the header to your name, and then change a couple images, and you're pretty much ready to go. But let's start off with a theme. So if you go to appearance, we can go and add a new appearance. So we're gonna say add new. You could just use one that they have, but I like adding a new one. And we can search for one called Astra. That's a super popular one. A lot of people use that, and click on install. So we'll install the Astra theme, but don't worry, it's not going to look just like this one. I know people think that, oh, what if I don't want my website to look like that? Well, we're gonna get a different template anyway. It's not actually going to look just like that. So if we go back to appearance, you'll see that right now we have it, but it's not actually activated. So we have to go and click on activate next to Astra, and that will make it our theme, the theme that we're actually going to be using. So then on the left side, we can go down to Astra options, go over to install importer plugin and click on that. And it's going to actually activate that. That'll allow you, like I said, to get an entire template, import a whole template with lots of pages that can be exactly related to what you want. So let's scroll down and say, build your website now. Here it's going to ask for your page builder. This is the plugin I was talking about. And the one that we always like to use is Elementor. Super easy. I have a full tutorial showing you everything that you need to know about Elementor, but I will show you some of the basics in this video as well. So we're gonna click on that one. If you're using Brave, just a little side note, you wanna make sure you have it disabled right there. Put the shields down. If you're using Chrome or whatever, you shouldn't have a problem. But from here, I'm gonna type in lawn care. I'm just gonna type in lawn and see what we have. So we've got this one might be a gray one for lawn care. That one looks pretty green, I like it. Other than that, we've got some other ones that kind of work. We could say landscaping, and that one might show up some. Okay, so these look pretty good too. We've got a pretty similar one to the one I saw earlier. Just a lot of themes that you can choose from. And if you wanna say, like, let's say this one, let's just look closer at this one. We can click on that, and it's gonna show you basically what the website is going to look like. And we can edit all of this anyway, but this is just a great way to get started. The logo on the top left, I like that. We're gonna add our own logo, of course, but I like where that's located. We've got just the pages right there. I don't like how you can't read that, but easy to edit. Get a quote, big button on the top right, that looks good. Phone numbers there. Going down, we've got some basic information. I think this is pretty good. I like this template. I wanna go with that one. So then we can just add our logo, which again, we're going on a lot of tangents here, but this is really the process of how you'd make a website. What I recommend doing is, again, we have a link to this one, santrelmedia.com/Canva, or you could just go to canva.com. Honestly, it'll take you to the same page. I already have a Canva account, so I'm just gonna show you on a different browser here. So what you wanna do is, you can just search for logo, first of all, but I'm gonna search for lawn care. That's obviously the business we're starting here. And we're gonna make a quick little logo. I can spend more time on this, but I'm just gonna show you some of the tools that I use to make logos super easily. So we can go to lawn care and we can go and click on logo, get some inspiration here. These are a couple different lawn care logos that you can work off of. And so I'm gonna go with, some of these are just landscaping, but I don't know, this one's kind of funny. I'm gonna go with, that's a pro one, but I have Canva Pro, so I'm gonna go with that. And from here, we can, first of all, expand it. So I'm gonna highlight everything and just kind of expand it down to the whole size for the entire logo. And we're gonna put in our own name. So I'm gonna type in, just double click on this. This one's a pretty easy editor. And again, I have a full tutorial on how to use Canva. It's free, but there is a pro version as well that gives you a little bit of extra stuff you can add. Super easy to use, very powerful, and it's great for making flyers and billboards and magazine, like whatever you're doing, any kind of Facebook ads, Instagram posts, stories, logos, Canva really does it all. So even if you don't upgrade, it's still, in my opinion, a really powerful free tool that I highly recommend. I mean, just at least check it out. It's definitely worth checking out. So I'm gonna type in Manny Young. It's probably not gonna fit here. So I'm gonna make that a little smaller. Manayunk, let's make that, see where that can fit. Manayunk, and then, so what is that? Size 47.2. Let's make this 47.2, 47.2. And we're gonna say Manayunk lawns. Actually, I think this should be, let's see if this looks good if it's a little bigger. Let's make them both the same width right now. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a super creative person. I'm not one to like make the best looking logos, but this is a really easy way to do that. So I'm gonna say Manayunk lawns, kind of use that. I recommend replacing the little icons, but it's a good way to get started, right? This is a good way to get started with the logo. It's not super original, but it is a very easy way to do this. So I'm gonna go and click on share. We're gonna download this. I'm gonna download it with a transparent background because that's a nice way to do that. And I'm gonna say download. So now let's get back to setting up that template. We're gonna upload a file and we're gonna use this one right here. Now you wanna add some alt text before you actually click upload. This is great for search engine optimization. I'm gonna say Manayunk lawns logo. So that way if anybody ever searches it, that's gonna show up in Google. And there we go. That's our logo to go in the top corner. I don't know, I like it, it's so simple. Maybe I would stretch this out and not make it a little square. I mean, Canva gives you the option to make it maybe like 1,000 by 500 pixels, a little bit wider, so it might say Manayunk lawns next to that. I'm gonna leave it as it is for right now. And yeah, I think that looks good just like that. We're gonna say continue. We're gonna choose our color scheme. So you could choose one, you could make a custom one, of course. You could go with something a little bit more like that, a little bit more contrasty, some red and green. This is a lawn care company, so green I think also looks good. I don't know. Again, I'm not a super artistic person, so you guys can decide for yourself. I'm gonna roll with the red one for now, just so it pops out a little bit. We're gonna go and choose the fonts. So the fonts, so many different options, but some of the most popular fonts are going to be, see if they have Roboto. There we go. Roboto is a very popular one. That's great for load speed. A lot of computers already have that loaded on their browser, but I don't know. I mean, also think about what looks good. I think this one looks pretty good. I'm gonna keep this one. So we're gonna say continue, and they're gonna ask us some information about us. And then we can choose what we want to import. I'm gonna select those and say start building my website. This one might take a couple minutes. So again, maybe go and grab, we already got a coffee, so maybe go grab like a donut or something and then come back. I don't know, whatever you guys do. In a couple minutes, we should have this ready to go. And I think you're actually gonna be really impressed by how this looks. All right, we got a little confetti. Let's go and say view our website. It's gonna open a new tab. ManayunkLawns.com, that's our website, and it's not just the home page. We now have this template set up for every single page we might want to use. So we've got an About Us page, and again, this is going to say like what we're using, how many projects we've done, things like that. A services page, again, very useful specifically for lawn care. We've got a projects page. I probably wouldn't really use that one as much. Maybe that's good for like a blog if you want to have like some project ideas, maybe like how to make a patio yourself. I don't know. Blogging is a great way to kind of label yourself as an industry expert or establish yourself as an industry expert and also drive up some organic traffic to your site. FAQs, that's usually a good one to have. I don't know if I'd make that on a separate FAQ page. I usually like bundling that into the home page. And of course, the ever important contact page where they have a map on there, some details and things like that. But let's actually start editing this, and we're gonna make this website into our own. ManayunkLawns.com/WP-admin. So that'll take us to our dashboard again. And so this is how you'll be editing in the future, of course. Go down to pages. We've got all our pages right here, lots of pages that are added in right now. And we want to go to home and click on edit with Elementor. It's going to open up the Elementor editor. Again, like I said, I have a full tutorial on how to use this, but it is a pretty user-friendly drag and drop editor. So for example, I mean, I'll go through what everything means in a second, but if you want to have like another title above this, you can just click and drag that, drop it right there, and you have another title. If you don't want it, you can just right click on the little pencil icon and delete it. And that's true for any item you have here, whether that is text, whether that is an image. See if we have an image right here, a button right there. You can change anything you want. But let's kind of zoom out and talk about the big picture of how Elementor sets up your site. This is important so you can understand why things are doing what they're doing. So Elementor uses what's called a section layout, where you have these individual sections stacked on your entire website. It's a very popular way to build a website, but you can see right here, it's outlined in a light blue. This entire box in the top, pretty much everything you see on the site right now, is one section. Then right here, this kind of lighter, whatever color tan background that is, that's another section outlined in blue. we've got another section down here, we've got another section here, and this is useful because you can move these sections up and down. So for example, if we want this one right here, why you want to choose us to be above a few words about us, we can click on the 6 dots and move up, and we'll be able to move this above the other one. So if we let go, that should move it up there. So now we have this slightly higher. Similarly, if you want to move something down, you can just click on the 6 dots and drag it down. You can see drag it below this one. So now it's going to go below that one. And so that's essentially how you'd move things around. But within each section, you've got columns. Now, by default, you're just going to have one column. It's outlined in kind of a light gray. So you can see right there, this is all one column. The next thing is actually 3 columns. You can see this one has a column there, and a column there. And within the columns, you've got the individual elements, whether they are text, buttons, things like that. And so that sounds complicated, right? But I'm actually going to go and walk you through each section and talk about what they did and how we can customize that. Starting off with the header, the first one, this is going to be a single column right here. You can see just one section, one column, and within that we've got 4 elements here. We've got some text, we've got a title, we've got more text, and we have on the bottom, I believe, more text there as well. And you might wonder, what about the big picture on the right side? Well, that is actually a background for the main section. So if we click on the 6 dots, just click on it once, you'll see on the left side, it says Edit Section. And here we've got 3 tabs. Each tab is going to allow us a different tool set to edit the section. So the first one is going to be the general layout. I'm not actually going to change that right now, but that could be essentially if you wanted to stretch the full width and if you want it to be narrower. Keep in mind, people are going to view this on different screens. Sometimes it's a really wide screen, sometimes it's a really narrow screen. You want to make sure that you're looking at as many screens as possible and it's set up accordingly. Then we can go to style. This is going to be essentially where the colors and the actual, obviously, style is going to be set. So here we've got the background. Right now the background is an image. As you can see, that is one image there. We can change the image to whatever we want. That one doesn't really fit lawn care, so maybe we want to have a different image. Let's upload an image right now with some lawn care. So I'm going to click on Choose Image, and from here we can go to Upload Files. I'm going to select Files, and I just have a whole bunch of different images I'm going to use. I'm just going to, just a bunch of random ones. We're going to upload all of those files and choose which single image we want. I'm going to use the rest throughout the website, but we're going to choose which one is our favorite right now for this. I'm going to try this one right here. I think this one looks pretty good, but we'll see. I think that looks really good. So, okay, so I like that. That's a good background. And the little squiggle right here, I believe, is a background overlay. So if we go down here to background overlay, sure enough, they have that. Maybe we don't want that. Maybe we want to adjust it. Maybe we want it to be more or less opaque, and you can change all of that just right here. So let's start off with position. So if this is the top left, maybe let's see what it looks like if it is top center. Okay, so it's pretty much the same size as my screen right now. You're not going to notice a difference there. I'm going to keep it in the top left, so it's always as easy as possible with that. There is no attachment with this. If we want it to repeat, no, definitely do not repeat. The size of it, we could do auto size. We could do repeat in X. Don't repeat in X, it doesn't look good. We could do default, like I said, or we can have, wait, why did I go to repeat? Size, we could do auto, we could do cover, which is going to be the full width. It's going to stretch it no matter what. We can do contain. That looks really bad, actually. Or we could do custom if you want to change the width itself. So I'm actually just going to do cover. I think that one looked the best. It gives us the image all the way over to the end. And I don't like it being that opaque. I think I want to dial it back just maybe 15%, 10% maybe. So you can see a little bit of the background there. Gives you a more complete image. I don't know. I'm not really the biggest fan of this in general. I don't really like the squiggly line, but whatever. We can change that a little bit later if you want to. Now, blend mode allows you to change what the overlay is actually doing. So right now it's overlaid as a light, like a white image there, but you can make it do whatever you want. You can make it do, like example difference would be make it essentially a negative, which looks weird, but I don't know, it's something you can do. I'm gonna go back to lighten, and we can go down to border or divider or things like that. I'm gonna leave it as is. I think that looks a lot better for the top part, but we're actually gonna have to change the text. So if we double click on any text we want, we can say, it's time for you to have, actually, let's leave that one and say a perfect lawn. Perfect Manayunk lawn. Maybe we want to slip in somewhere on the header on our first page. Maybe we want to add the location and our name, Manayunk lawn. That seems like a cool way to get that in there. So we want you to have a perfect Manayunk lawn. That makes sense. If somebody's going to look up lawn care in Manayunk or Manayunk lawn care, you already have Manayunk written on your website. That's a good start. And then we have a phone number down there, and so that's the first section. Now, before you go and continue on the next one, make sure you go down and click on Update, or at the very least, save it as a draft so that you're not losing your work as we continue to make the website. So the first section, not perfect, but you get the idea of how to actually utilize these tools to make it look as good as you want. Now, as we scroll down, you can see the next section, I'm not really a big fan of this one. Let's just say we didn't want this all together. If we click on the 6 dots, or we right click on the 6 dots rather, we can go down and click on delete, and that gets rid of that section entirely. Now the next section you can see right here has a large image. Actually, this I believe is a video is going to look like, which maybe I don't want the video there. Maybe you do. A video is actually pretty powerful as well. And we've got up here why you should choose us. So you've got experts, quality services, whatever. Make sure, and something I see so many websites do, it doesn't really add value. Don't put something so generic. Like when you put generic text that doesn't describe you specifically, that doesn't have your name, doesn't have the region you service, if it doesn't have that information in it, and it just says like we are quality, we have quality service that treats you well and whatever, like everybody says that. I wouldn't put anything that's too generic like that. You can put that at the bottom if you want, but the second block on your website should probably say something like what regions do we serve, or what packages are popular, or what do we do. And so here you might want to say lawn mowing and trimming. You could say maybe if you do like hedges and shrubs, things like that. You can add that right here. So you could say like why you should choose us, or you could say like what services, or you could say our most So you can say, let's just say this, these are our, so you could say this one, revive a lawn, right? And so that's essentially how you do that. You can see the little icon on the left. If you just click on that, you can easily change that over here to whatever you want. So library icon, you could choose, I don't know, maybe like a city or clinic. Clinic would be a great one for this right here. So let's go and change that icon library. Where was clinic? It should be letter C, or you can just filter by name. Clinic, right there. So we'll go and do that, like a little grass clinic. We just say, yeah, lawn clinic, whatever. And so you guys get the idea of how you can actually edit this. I'm not going to go through and bore you with inputting every single paragraph, but you get the idea. You're going to have to start populating this with your own stuff. The other tools we have, of course, let's talk about if you want to add a new section of your own. So right below here, between these two, you see there's a blue line. And so if we want to have a new section, we can click on the plus icon there, and it adds one above it. And now we have 3 options. We can just add, we can click the plus, and it's going to ask us how many columns we want. We can add a template. We don't have templates yet because it's a brand new website. Or we can add a starter template. Now this is different from a template. Now a template would be something that you saved. If there's a type of block on your website that you like using, you use it a lot, you can save it. But here, this is actually a starter template. This is something pre-made. Somebody else made it. And so we can see what they have. Maybe they've got some that, let's go to blocks actually. Maybe they have one that's like about us or our team or something like that. Yeah, so these are all our team ones. Maybe we like those. Maybe we want something that's like a form. Maybe you want, let's see what else we have down here. A map is pretty useful as well, showing what areas you serve. Or, I mean, eventually you can add some extra functionality. The great thing about WordPress is that it is so easy to expand. So if in the future you want to add a button that says, type in your address and we'll let you know if we serve that location, you could easily add that on WordPress, and that would be a great way to maybe even automate your quotes as well. You can have an automated quote based on the size of the property or something like that, or a rough estimate. Really easy to do all that stuff. So I'm going to close out of this. Let's just say we want to add maybe a single column, 2 column. You can choose whatever you want. Let's go 2 column because I want to show you something. The columns, you can actually adjust how wide each one is simply by clicking on the little dotted line there and dragging back and forth. So you could see 70, let's say 70, 30s if we want that. It's right there. And so here, if we click on the little 9-dot grid on the top right of the panel on the left, we can click and drag anything we want over here. We can add a heading, so click and drag heading. We can go back to the 9 dots. We can click and add text below that. So click and add text below that. And we can add, let's say, a button. So let's click and drag a button over here as well. And so now we have 3 items there. And maybe on the right side, we want to add maybe an image. That's a classic one. But just to show you one thing, we can actually add an intersection as well. So maybe below the button, we want 2 subcolumns. So let's go see if we can get this below the button. There it is, 2 subcolumns, and that way you have an intersection within a section. And okay, like I said, let's go back and add that image. So image, click and drag that right here. But of course, tons of other things. If you have Elementor regular, these are what you're gonna get. You can upgrade to Elementor Pro. We'll have a link down below for that so you can get the best price on that. But Elementor Pro eventually is going to give you a lot of extra functionality if you want to have table of contents, countdown, Facebook button, some other integrations with Facebook, things like that. There's a lot of power with that, but Elementor Pro comes with other things as well. For example, the ability to make and save templates and pop-ups and all types of different very powerful tools like that. But again, not for everybody. Starting off, I love how Elementor is free, and I really recommend starting off with the free version for a lot of people out there. So continuing down, you can go through these on your own time and just start checking out what each of them are. But other ones I want to point out that are significant, one of them is shortcode. So if I click and drag shortcode, let's just drop that in right there. That would be if you get a plugin. Remember I said you can get a plugin maybe that would have a map, maybe the map's interactive, maybe you type in your address and it lets you know if you're in the serviced region. That might be a different plugin. Now, if you have a plugin that does something a little bit more complicated like that, a lot of times they'll give you a little piece of what they call shortcode, which just references them and they run their own code then. And all you have to do is go and plug in that or paste that shortcode right here, and it'd be just like what they're showing right there, like gallery ID equals whatever, something like that. That would be shortcode. You'd paste that right there, and then that little block would run some other code that's not a native Elementor or WordPress code. So going back, the only other thing I really wanted to point out on Elementor before we kind of continue on with the website and talk about other pages is the menu anchor. Now, an anchor is essentially a way to so if you click on a button and it scrolls down to a certain part of the page, that is an anchor. Buttons don't always have to go to another page. They can go to a different part of this page. So if you had a really long page, lots of paragraphs, lots of different information there, and then way down near the bottom, you want them to see our recent projects. So we can click and drag menu anchor right above this. So right there would be menu anchor. And it's not going to look like that. You won't see a gray box on the actual website. We're going to name this anchor recent projects, and I'm going to copy that. So highlight and copy. Now this up here is a title. Now if we want this text right here to link to that anchor down there, which again, bad example because it's a phone number, but you want to highlight this. So highlight this, make sure you have it. And on the left side where it says edit heading, so this is technically a heading right here, it's an H3, it says link. Now you can link this to phone number, other pages, whatever you want. But again, just for this example, you wouldn't ever really do this in a website, but if you wanted to link this phone number down below, you would press a little hash icon or symbol and then paste that, and now it's going to link when you click on that down to the bottom. So let's kind of preview what we have right here. If we click on the little preview changes, it'll open in a new tab, our new interactive website. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't like this on the left side. That doesn't look good. We'll fix that white space in a second. But let's go and click on this. If you click on it, you can see it works perfectly, scrolls down. There's no gray box there, just like I said. And the website otherwise looks pretty decent. I think this right here, was that actually a video they gave us? No, that was just a button. That's not actually a video. That's confusing. I don't know why they even added that. But let's go back. Let's close this. Let's get rid of that. We just don't need that right there. We don't need that. So let's go and delete that. Having a little play icon doesn't make sense. But of course, you can change all this stuff. Very, very easy to do. Let's go back to the next page. So if we click on update, now we can go get out of here. So if we click on the little hamburger icon at the top left, we can go to X as a dashboard, and let's check out some of the other pages. Of course, like I said, there was more work to do on that page, but I'm just showing you guys the tools. I don't want to bore you with every single paragraph I would put on the entire website. We'll get back to optimizing it for search in a second, some other helpful tips, but let's talk about the rest of the website first. So click on the WordPress icon, and then down here from pages, let's say we want to look at maybe a contact page. Let's go to an About Us page. So let's go and edit with Elementor. So here's the About Us page, and this one, except for the kind of boring header, I think it looks pretty decent. So if we scroll down, you've got pretty much everything you need, and from here you just add your own titles, add your own paragraphs, replace the images with yours, and this page is ready to go. Again, you can just see how easy these templates really make your life when you're making a website. So one thing you want to notice, though, is that this is the desktop version of the site, and of course, especially with lawn care, you're probably going to have a pretty substantial amount of traffic from mobile devices, from phones, from maybe tablets, but probably mostly phones. And so, assuming you get about 50% of your traffic from a mobile device, you really want to make sure that this website is also optimized for your mobile site. Now, in order to do that, what we want to do is go down on the bottom left of the little panel over here, click on responsive mode, and on the top, you see a little menu just popped up there. Now we can easily switch between different devices. We can also zoom in and out. So if you want to see what if it's a smaller desktop, You can click on the minus button a couple times. You'll see that's what it's going to look like. Let's go back to full size. And we can go to mobile. So if we tap on mobile, it is a responsive website. So the website will automatically adjust. You don't have to make a different website for mobile, but you want to make sure things adjust properly. So as we go down, you can see, yeah, these images that didn't really translate very well. I think that looks kind of weird. So maybe what we want to do is just hide that image altogether. I don't know. It would look boring if we didn't have it, but let's say maybe we'll have a different image that only shows up on mobile. And the way you do that is you click on the 6 dots. So click on the 6 dots on that section, go over to advanced, and then from advanced, we can go down to responsive and hide this on mobile. Now it's going to gray it out. When they actually visit the website, it's not going to be grayed out. It's just not going to exist there at all. But this is a way to have a section that is visible on the mobile, or that is visible on the desktop and the tablet version, but not on the mobile version. So when they stack like that, like I said, I just don't think that looks good. Now, if we want to add something that is only on mobile, we can go and add a new section here. So click on the plus, we'll add a little section, single column, and from here we can go to the 9 dots, go down to image, click and drag image over. So we have an image right there, and let's just choose this image. Maybe we can say, I don't know, just like this one right here, just some random image, insert that media, and let's say this one is only visible on mobile. So you guys can probably guess how we're gonna do that. Click on the 9 dots, go over to advanced, and from here, responsive, hide it on desktop, hide it on tablet. Now we're ready to go, and if you previewed it, you'd see it's on mobile, it is not on desktop. So that's how you'd want to go about editing your website, making sure it looks good on mobile and on desktop. And of course, as always, make sure you click update or save it as a draft so you don't lose your work. So that's how you go about editing pages. I'm going to dig deeper into search engine optimization, some SEO tips so that you can make sure this website ranks on Google. But we have the foundation, we have the fundamentals with this website. Let's exit to dashboard. And from here, click on the little WordPress icon so you're on your actual dashboard. And I want to go kind of run you through a couple other things now that we're pretty well set up with this website. We've got pages. If you want posts, it's really going to be the same tool set here. I'm not going to get into that. But if you want to make blog posts, again, this could be a great way to get some free traffic to your website. Specifically, if you start things like how to add fertilizer to your grass, how to manage pests, how to do different things with lawns, specifically in certain regions, then that's really going to drive up your organic traffic, get people recognizing your brand, your website, your business, and ultimately, hopefully, help you find more customers, or at the very least, establish you as a professional in the industry. Now, one big benefit here is that it will help you rank higher as well. So even if you're getting people visiting your website that are not in your specific region, that's okay, because the more traffic you get and the more useful articles you have, the more likely it is other websites will reference your website and give you a link over to your website saying, hey, here's a great article about how to do this. And when you get these are called backlinks, when you get links, these are going to help essentially Google recognize you as a valid website, and that'll make you rank higher for local search as well. So if somebody types in Manning lawn care service near me, then I'm more likely to pop up if I have good articles that are linked to by other websites. For example, just say Forbes is writing an article about home care and they link to me. That's huge. A big website like Forbes linking to my website would really help me rank higher in Google, as it really establishes your credibility, at least in the eyes of the Google search engine. So going through here, posts I think are really important, but don't spend too much time initially on them. That can be something you kind of build up over time. Like I said, we've got media, so that's going to be all the images that we uploaded. Now, there's no media page on the website, but this is just a tool for you on the back end when you're editing to just click and drag and bring images in. I like to bulk upload all the images I have before I start building the website, just so I can see what we're working with, and a lot of these came from the template anyway. Pages, we already talked about that. Comments, Elementor, this is just going to be some basic settings on there. There's not a whole lot I want to change with that. We're not going to do templates in this video. We're not doing forms right now. The appearance, we already talked about that. Plugins, users. If you have other users, if you're not the only one making the website, you can add other users, and you have a lot of different roles. They can be an editor, they can just be an author. There's a lot of different things they can do. If they only write, if they can write and add images and things like that. Just be careful who you give the role of admin to, because they do have a lot of power, of course. Going down to settings, this is one that there are a couple things that you want to edit here. One of them is the site title. So right now, MannyYoungLawns.com. I'm just going to call this Manny Young Lawns. and then just another WordPress website. You definitely don't want that. So we could say we mow lawns. I don't know. You want something a little bit better than that, but that's what we're going to have. And then down here, WordPress address. We're going to change that in a second because we want that to be HTTPS, not HTTP. Again, remember we got that SSL earlier in the video. And I think everything else is looking pretty good. So let's save these changes. I want to change one other thing before we change the WordPress address because that's going to make us sign back in. Going down to writing, this one looks fine. I believe permalinks, that's the next one we want to do. Permalinks, we can go down, we don't want plain, that doesn't look good. Whenever you have a blog article or another page, you don't want that to just say yourdomain.com/?p=123. It doesn't look good. It's easier if you have post name, easier for people to remember. It's also probably easier for Google as well to kind of categorize what your post is. Google's smart, so I don't want to underestimate Google, but at the very least, it's easier for people to know where they are on your website. So we're going to go and save that. That way, if you write an article about, or if you have a page that's like about us, it'll be maniyunklawns.com/about. Very easy way to do that. So now let's go back to general, and now let's add that S in there. So WordPress address, we're going to click on that, type in letter S, type in letter S. Seems like such a small little subtle thing there. It seems like it wouldn't be necessary, but it really is. So we're going to save changes. It's going to sign me out. We'll sign back in right now. And there we go. Now we're signed back in. Okay, so by now you have a pretty basic foundation for what the website's going to be, and you have the tools you need to edit that website. But there are quite a few other things that we can move on to that all point back to the website that can drive you a lot more traffic. But I want to start off with some basic math that we were doing before. And of course, the estimates are going to be different based on where you are. But where we came up with a number, $12,700 per month, mowing lawns, that's based on like the basic assumption of if you just have maybe a truck and you have a push mower, right? You've got a little push lawnmower and a weed whacker as well. Those are not going to cost you that much. Overhead on them, about a lawnmower, maybe $300, $350. A good weed whacker, maybe about $200. If you hopefully already have a truck, that would be great. If not, I've seen people use minivans or any type of van. You can have a small trailer behind a sedan. It doesn't really matter, but a pickup truck is probably the easiest way to load and unload everything and also clean it out at the end of the day as well. But if you have maybe a suburban area, and you have lawns that are about maybe 6,000 or 7,000 square feet, so not especially large. With a push mower, you can probably mow that in about 45 minutes if you're quick, or at least I used to be able to do that in about 45 minutes. And you could also trim around the edges with a weed whacker, assuming you don't have complicated landscaping. And the whole thing, like I said, 45 minutes, round up to maybe an hour, and let's just say you're able to get maybe 2 or 3 houses in a row, or at least within the same cul-de-sac, same neighborhood. That's gonna be about 3 hours, and that each lawn should cost about, we estimate approximately $53 to mow. So let's say you start your day, 3 homes in 3 hours, and then you drive for 30 minutes, you've got maybe another 2 or 3 homes. If you started at 8 a.m., that brings you to 2:30 p.m., and you already have a pretty substantial amount of money. Say you got another hour of packing up, driving around, and then 2 more homes, another 30 minutes of driving, and then 2 more homes. Then by the end of the day, that gives you $530 in one day. It's a pretty full day for sure, but if you're working 6 days a week for 28 days a month, that's going to give you $12,720 per month. That's just working alone. Of course, that's not accounting for gas. Gas is really not going to be that much with the small push mower, but I mean, when you really think about that, that's with just you working alone with small family homes that have maybe a 6,000, 7,000 square foot lawn. So if you're able to get a zero turn as you save up over time, again, they're gonna be a little more expensive. You can probably buy a decent used one for maybe $3,000. You can get a new one for maybe $5,000, but you know, they have a really big spread on the price as well. If you want a good one, they can be a lot more than that. Or they could be less than that if you want a cheaper one as well. But these are all things that as you scale up, you can start buying better equipment to mow faster. You can get a trailer. And for anybody that thinks, oh, I need a trailer and a truck, I need to spend all this money on things, I actually know a guy, and this is really interesting. You might not even believe this. I know a guy that doesn't have a truck. He literally drives his zero turn to the neighborhoods where he mows the lawn. I'll see him, he'll drive out in the morning and he'll come back late in the evening. The guy literally works all day just by driving his zero turn. He'll drive it on either a sidewalk or the road to the neighborhood that he needs to get to. He'll mow lawns all day. I'm sure he makes a lot of money from that because he can mow them really, really quick. And also, he doesn't ever need to load up a trailer, so it's really easy to do. Now, you might wonder, what about like, oh, the other equipment? Well, he actually has like a little leaf blower on the back of his seat. He has a weed whacker there as well, so he can really do everything really quickly. And the guy's just going down, coffee in his hand, on the zero turn on either the road or a sidewalk. It's really funny to see it, but you know what? I'm just pointing out that you can really get this business going with almost nothing at all. But like I said, you really need to make sure that you're finding good customers. There are ways to market locally, but let's first focus a little bit more on the digital aspect because so many people are looking for a lawn care company digitally. So let's talk about the Facebook business page. So I don't personally go on Facebook much, and you might be wondering yourself, why would I make a Facebook business page if maybe a lot of people aren't on Facebook? And first of all, a lot of people still are on Facebook, but second of all, if somebody's searching for lawn care companies near you, your website is so young, it's not going to rank on Google right away. It's going to take time until Google actually indexes it, until you really start to get those backlinks, until you really start to have a website that is more well established that can rank on Google. But in the beginning, using a Facebook business page is a great way to kind of bring up your rankings on Google and have you at least appear. There's many other tools we'll talk about as well to help you appear on Google, but Facebook, being such a well-established domain, is going to be a lot easier to show up on Google and is more likely to actually show up above your website, at least for the first couple months. So a Facebook business page is super powerful. So starting off on Facebook, you sign into your personal account. I know it's about a business, but we're gonna separate this a little bit more from your personal account in the future. You have to start off with your personal account. That's just how Facebook works. So from your personal Facebook, if you click on the grid up here, the 9 dots, it'll give you the menu. We can go down to create, and we're going to create a page, a Facebook business page. Now, we can choose the name. So the name, I'm just gonna say Maniyunk Lawns. The category, we're going to say lawn care. See if we have lawn care. No, we've got maybe landscaping. Landscape company, there we go, landscaping. Let's say home, and see if we can think of another one. I think that's good enough. Now the description, we could say a Maniyunk, we can say that. We'll go down and we will say create the page. I think that's everything on this section, so we'll say create page. And of course, over here is gonna actually be the preview of what your page is, so it's gonna create it. It's gonna take a second. So it's gonna ask for a profile photo and a cover photo. Profile photo, I'm just gonna use my logo. The cover photo, just some arbitrary photo of grass is just fine. And we can say save. And so this is already kind of building out. Like you can see, it says our name, has our logo, it says landscaping company. It's starting to look pretty good. Now what we want to do, I'm just going to pop up and ask us something else. There we go. It's going to ask for our phone number if we want to connect that. I'm not going to do that right now, again, just for the purposes of this tutorial. But if you want to connect it to WhatsApp, this could be really powerful if you have that on your phone. But keep in mind, you don't want to do this if you're not going to reply by WhatsApp. Facebook owns WhatsApp. They want people to message you on WhatsApp rather than calling you with your phone number. So use it if you want to. Facebook's promoting it, but I maybe don't have WhatsApp on my phone, for example, and maybe you just don't want to do that. So I'm going to close out of that. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do that? Yeah, sure. I am sure that I don't want to do that, but I do recommend you might want to consider doing that, especially it's such an easy thing to add, and maybe some people are more comfortable with WhatsApp. And so maybe that's a good way to actually do that. I mean, in America, that's not especially common. But let's go. The next thing we want to do is add a button. Now, the button is the most important part of your entire Facebook business page. Now, the button is going to be where you funnel everybody to, and that's the call to action. That's the actual action that they're able to call you or sign up or schedule and get you to actually cut their grass. So if we click add a button, we have quite a few options for what kind of button we want to add here. It could be don't do follow. That's not really that important. We don't want to view gift card. Start an order. It's not food. Booking now. If you have like a booking service, which is very powerful, and I recommend doing it, at least maybe not in the beginning, but eventually you definitely should do that. For maybe like a one-time cut or something, if somebody just wants like a quick little mulching or leaf blowing, whatever it might be, like a specific landscaping service, they could book it. That would be a great thing to have. Call now is a good one, but maybe some people are not comfortable with calling. A lot of people would rather text, or they're in the middle of their day, they don't want to call, they just want to quickly send a message and get set up like that. So maybe you want to just say contact us, and that's going to send people over to your website where they can choose how they want to contact you. And I really like that one. So other than these, not a whole lot that I really like. Let's go to contact us. The website is going to be https://maniyunklawns.com. So we're going to say save. and that is going to be our button. It'll pop up, edit, contact us. Let's just say test button. First of all, always make sure you test the button. In a new tab, it'll take you there. Sure enough, it worked, took them to the page, and I still don't like that white space. I'm gonna fix that later. And that's just gonna say contact us. I wish it would say something else like get a free quote, but we can add that in post down below. The next thing is the create username, obviously highlighted in blue. Sometimes they make you get like 100 likes on your page before you can claim a username. Sometimes they let you just get the username. So let's see if they'll give it to us. Maniyunk Lawns. At Maniyunk Lawns is good. This is something that you probably want to have on a lot of different social medias, and this is something that as soon as you buy a domain, there are people that will go out and snag the Instagram, that'll snag all the handles across the board, and then try to sell them to you. So at this point, I'm going to say create username, say done, and this is also a good time to go and, like I said, make an Instagram. We'll do that right after the video. Make a, I don't know, whatever else you want. If you want TikTok, I don't really see for a lawn care company that might not be super useful. Some people might benefit from that. You could have things like Snapchat, again, not super common, but if you want to use that, go for it. And of course, just a regular Gmail. We will set up our own custom email, but if you want to like snag like maniyunklawns@gmail.com, at the very least, you're covering your bases from like a fraud scammer perspective. They won't be able to take that because you own that. So the fundamentals of the business page are set up. We're going to want to make some more posts over time. We can go and manage your page through Meta Business Suite. It used to be called Facebook Business Suite, Facebook Business Manager. I don't know, changes their name all the time, but Meta Business Suite is something that you do want to set up as well. I have a full tutorial on that. I'm not going to go off on a tangent about that right now, but let's go down to settings on the left side, and there are quite a few things that you want to populate here. Again, so Google knows when people search this that, you know, that people can find when you're open, what location you're in, things like that. Going through general, you can see that this is a little more boring, but read through this and make sure that you agree with like profanity filter. Maybe you want that on, for example, so that you don't have to go on here and, you know, manage people that are hopefully not leaving bad reviews. But again, go through this on your own time and figure out which of the general ones make sense for you to change. Messaging, I'm not going to set that up right now because that's something I'm so bad with. But once again, just like the WhatsApp thing, if you want people to message you on Facebook and you're willing to reply, could be a great way to get new customers. If they find your Facebook business page, they want to just send you a message and say, hey, do you service the Bala Cynwyd area? Maybe you could just, you know, really quickly, if you have your phone on, just go and reply to them. You can also set up auto replies as well and say, you know, as soon as they go to your Facebook business page, the messenger pops up and says, hey, I'm Mike, thanks for visiting our page. Can I help you? And that's a great way to kind of cause that engagement or initiate that engagement and get potential customers. We've got page info. This is the one I was really worried about that I really wanted to spend some time on. So we want to have a phone number. Definitely make sure you add a phone number. Definitely make sure you add an email. Definitely make sure, well, we already have a website, so I'm going to add that right now, maniyunklawns.com. And this other thing, like the other two things, the email and the phone number, add those. I'm not going to add them right now because, of course, this is just a tutorial. But the location, add your location for where you are, where you start at least. And then we can have the service area, and this would be a great one. So we could say Greater Philadelphia, or you just say Philadelphia. We can add other ones as well. So Maniyunk, Bala Cynwyd. And there we go. So we can add different regions like that for what areas you service, neighborhoods, cities, regions. That's going to be super important that people see that. And add as many as you can possibly think of. So people are going to look for like, oh, what if I'm right outside Bala Cynwyd and maybe wherever you might be. Maybe you're in like Norristown, Narberth, whatever. And you want to have each individual region there so people see their region and they know you definitely will work at their house. So the hours, you could say they're always open, permanently closed. I'm going to say always open, and maybe you have like an emergency crew that if something, you know, if somebody has a party and they need you to hurry up and come out and do this quickly, maybe you have some kind of like a upcharge you can do for that. And so maybe you're just always open, always willing to work and make that money. Temporary service change, you add that. Privacy policy, things like that. QR code, that's really useful. If you want to make stickers and put them like maybe on the side of your truck or your lawnmower or whatever, if you have yard signs, that's an easy way for people to not have to type in maniyunklawns.com. If you choose a good domain, that really isn't necessary anyway, but still, you have a QR code, easy to copy and paste that. Price range, let's say we're moderate. Let's just say we're moderate. And we're using US dollars. If you have other accounts, you can add them down here. And of course, on the left side, we can go through a lot of other things. I'm not going to dive into that. I have a full tutorial on Facebook business pages, but you guys get the basics right now of really just laying down the groundwork for this Facebook business page. So I think everything's looking pretty good. Let's go up on the top left, click on Manioc Lawns. It'll take us back to the page. No, I'm not going to set up WhatsApp yet. They're going to keep doing that every time I come on here until I eventually do that. But let's go and create a post. Now, we could do this right now and schedule it and everything for Facebook and Instagram. I'm not going to do that right now. We're just going to make a basic post like, let us mow your lawn. I don't know, this is a terrible post, but you guys, you're getting the idea of what we're doing here. We're going to add an image. Okay, so you get the idea. We're just going to start adding a couple posts. You want to add some things, not just like little ads, but you want to make sure that these make sense. Maybe you're talking about different areas. Maybe you talk about what services you do. Maybe you have a different post for each type of like package you have. Maybe the little infographics that talk about how many people like mow their lawn and accidentally like kill like garden snakes, or I don't know, whatever. You guys get the idea. You can add all types of things. Just make sure that it's useful and not just a whole bunch of like, hurry up and hire us now, because you don't need that. Now, moving on to the next thing. We've got a Facebook business page. It's honestly a pretty good one. We're ready to go. We have a website. There are many other things we want to do. The next one, and this is a huge one, is called Google My Business. Now, you want to make sure your business is being found on Google. One of the easiest ways to do that, so let's just look up. So if I just go to Google and look up, I don't know, any company, so let's say a suit company in Philadelphia, and we search them, you'll see that on the right side, this is a little knowledge panel based on Google My Business. And so it's going to show some images of your business. It's going to show where it is, the name of the business, ways to engage with them. So you got website, you can save it, you can call them. They've got Google reviews, which is incredibly important as well. People want to see some kind of validation on your service before they go and hire you. It has all types of things about location, the address, the hours, the phone number, the products, popular times as well for when people are there. This little thing is so important, and you want to make sure that this is popping up, and you do this through setting up something called Google My Business. So if we go to business.google.com, that'll take you right here, and we can manage our business. Of course, you want to make sure you're signed in. So this is the Google business page. If you click on Manage Now, it's going to have you sign into Google. Now, you could do this with your personal email. Probably wouldn't recommend that. You could do this with a new business email. So like manionclawns@gmail.com would be one of them. It's easy, and you can do that. It's also free, and if you're bootstrapping your business, that's a great way to go in the beginning. But one of the most professional ways to manage your business is through an email that is associated with the domain that you already own. And if you're going to do that for your clients and everything, you might as well do that for this as well. So if we go over to Hostinger, let's just say we want it to be mike@manionclawns.com. Very professional. It makes it sound much more like a real business and much less like a little garage operation. And so if we go down to domain, we can click on manage. And from here, we can go down, should say email, manage your email. There it is, manage email. And it's going to offer you the business email is just $1 per month, or you can do a free email is going to be free, $0 per month. And this is going to have a pretty big limit on how much storage you have, only 1 gigabyte. You have no read receipts, no email templates. But, for the purposes, you also don't get an alias either. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to go with a free one, just a lot easier to do. And we're going to say mike@manionclawns.com, have a password here. And then if we open it in a new tab, you can see this is our email. So we'll say get started. We can have our display name is going to be Mike O'Brien. Next. Set a signature now. So we could say signature 1 is going to be best regards. Okay, so let's just say that's our signature. We're going to say save. Signature 1, sure, ready to go. Close out of this. So this is using something called Titan. A lot of people like to use G Suite or Google Business Suite essentially, and that's another way that it manages it within the Gmail platform, but it's still going to use the same domain. That's typically, I don't know, $10, $12 a month. And so this being free is typically a much easier way to get off the ground, not having to spend that extra money, saving costs. It's really a great way to do this. But let's go back and continue with the Google My Business profile. So if we click on Manage Now, like I said, you're going to have to go and sign into Google. We're going to create a new account for my business, Mike O'Brien. We're going to have our emails, mike@manionclawns.com. There we go. So we're not creating a new Gmail address. We're using our own email address. We're just making an account with Google using our email address, which is unrelated to Google entirely. We could say next. Now we have to enter the code that was sent to our email. So if we'll go back to our email, there we go. We've got our little thing here. Then it's going to ask if you want to receive video calls. I'm just going to skip that for now. We don't need that at the moment. We're going to agree wherever we need to, and enter our business name. So now we're going to actually get started with the Google Business Profile Manager, Google My Business. So Manayunk Lawns, create this business. The business category is going to be lawn care service. We're going to say next. From here, do you want to add a location customers can visit, like a store or an office? No, we don't want them to come to our physical location. Where do you serve your customers? Okay, so let's search and add, so let's say greater Philadelphia area, Philadelphia metropolitan area. Great, let's add Manayunk. We can say Bala Inwood. Right there, we can say Narberth, that's nearby as well. And you can add a couple of others as well, whatever you think, whatever makes the most sense. So we're going to say next. Those are just the ones that I'm sticking with right now. Add your contact information, our website, our current URL, so HTTPS. And we could just say next from there. I didn't add a phone number, and that is what it is. Do you want updates on and recommendations for Google My Business? Let's just say yes for now, just so you can have those updates. So, you know, Google's going to tell you what's missing. Usually they're trying to make it as complete as possible, because if you're a good business, they want to know and they want to recommend the best businesses to people. Okay, so now enter your mailing address to verify. So we're going to have our mailing address. I'm just going to use, and with this, for SEO purposes, you want to make sure you use the exact same mailing address for everything, for your LLC filing, for your website, literally listed on your website, for this, and for anything else we're going to do in this entire setup process. You want to make sure you have consistent phone number, consistent address, consistent email address, and consistent website URL, so that everywhere that everything's congruent, that all matches up. And when Google looks at all of them, they all match up, and it says, yep, all these pieces are related to this business, validating the business, and again, helping you rank higher on Google. So I'm going to use my address right here. We're going to say next, and it's going to say choose a way to verify. We're going to say enter an email. Say email. It's going to send us an email. It already did. We're going to do this again. Go and refresh my inbox. Verify that. There's the first thing. And we can just keep on clicking next to this. It's going to keep asking for different information. So code is accepted. We're verified. It's going to add your services. So lawn mowing. We could do maybe grass seeding. We can do mulching, lawn pest control. Let's see more. Sod installation, weed control, yard work. Let's just say that's what we have right now. And if you want to add a custom service, you can do that down here as well. I'm just going to say next. Make sure you have a couple things so it shows up when people find your business, to make sure they know what you're doing. And let's just say, I said 6 days a week. You know, sometimes people want to take only one day off. Maybe you want 2 days off. It's up to you. But, you know, just assuming that you want to take Sunday off, for example, you could say you work from 8 a.m. We could just say 8 a.m., 8 o'clock a.m. until, like, I don't know, 6 p.m. A little bit of a long day there, but, you know, probably even longer. We can go in the summer till 8 p.m. So we're going to add those hours. Let's leave that. So you populate the whole thing. Have it, you know, for the purposes of this, I'm just going to say we're only open on Monday, just because I don't feel like typing in for every single day. But again, type it in for every day. I'm going to say next. From here, we can say, do we accept messaging? So this is going to be messaging your business on Google. So that's, again, another way people can contact you. Just make sure that you're able to receive messages across the board so you're not missing potential customers. Add a business description, so we could just use the same one that we used earlier, or something like that. We're going to say next. You just want some kind of description for your business. Now we want to add some photos. If you only have one photo, it's just going to use the default Google Maps image of whatever your location is. So I recommend adding as many photos as you have. I'm just going to add a couple. And now you have a $500 advertising credit. That's what Google gives you to get you jump started. I'm not going to actually start advertising yet. That's something, if you want to do that, future videos, we'll talk about how to advertise on Google. Now your edits will be visible once you're verified. So we're going to say continue, and everything's ready to go. So now, there we go. We've got Manayunk Lawns is showing up over on the side. edit info directly on your business profile. There we go. So it's telling us how to actually edit this. So you can edit, you can promote, you can respond to customers, you can see things like that. So we're going to say start. And over on the right side, there we go. So now you manage this business profile. So we have that check mark there. You can see that what it's being served, where it's serviced. We can add a phone number, add business hours, add an appointment link, and you can start going through this and start really populating that, because the more stuff you have there, of course, the more, I don't know, just the better off it is in general, where people are able to contact you, they're able to see everything, answer a lot of questions, and more likely hire you than some other company out there. So if they click on website, of course, always test these links. Clicking on the website, there we go, takes us over to this right here. So already we have some pretty decent information. It's a pretty solid groundwork. We've got the Google My Business, we've got a Facebook business page, we have a website, we have an LLC. What else do we actually need to set up this business? Well, for one, you need reviews. As many reviews as you can possibly get. You can get your first review, I mean, probably not from yourself, but if you wanted to, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you guys how to do that. Make sure you read the terms of service. You can't cheat the reviews. It's really important. But if you have some friends, if you have some other neighbors that you can go and mow their lawn for free in exchange for a review on Google, that could be a great way to at least get some validation, at least a couple reviews. I know not everyone's reviewing their lawn care company, so people going on here don't expect thousands of reviews, but as long as you have maybe 5 or 10 or 15, that's a really good start. So people can say, hey, look, this is a 5-star place, good reviews, you have 15 reviews, so some people used them before, and that'll get the ball rolling so that at the very least, there's some social validation there. Now, you can get to this page just by looking up your business name, and you can see right here that below, there's a couple different things that Google's suggesting, including turning on the chat, getting the custom email. We already have a custom email, so that we don't need G Suite here. Getting your first reviews, like I just said, create an offer. So if you want to have any kind of promotions, you can do that. And this could be something like maybe get your first cut free, or maybe it could be get your second cut free, whatever it is, or whatever you want to do. We can add an update. So this could be something like letting you know that maybe you added another service region that you didn't have before. Claiming your credit, we talked about that. We're not doing Google Ads just yet. Learning more about this, I recommend reading a lot more about what you can do with Google My Business, how to really optimize it. And of course, we didn't add our phone number yet either. But eventually, you will have to actually verify this. So you're going to verify your address. I believe they still, I mean, I haven't done this in a while, but I believe they still send you something in the mail to verify your address. And you'll be able to type in a number once they mail it to you, and that way, you verify that the address is correct if you used a physical address. I did not on here, so I don't think I'll be receiving that anyway, but right now, that's what it is. Now, one other thing you want to keep in mind is that this is set up with a brand new Google account, so we should go over to manage our Google account. So if you click on your profile, click on manage your Google account, we want to make sure that we have some extra security here. This is our business. Remember, this is going to be really important. If somebody else hacked our account, they could access a lot of this, and that could be really dangerous. So if we go over to security, you can add what's called two-factor authentication. I think most people probably know what that is right now, but essentially two-step verification is just like on your phone, you'll get a text message and you'll use the code to sign in. Just an extra layer of security so that if somebody stole your password, as long as they didn't steal your phone or your security key or your email or whatever, as long as they didn't steal the other things, they won't actually be able to sign in. So it's a really powerful tool. We recommend it, and I'm just gonna set that up right now. Now, let's talk about some local SEO, local search engine optimization, making sure that your business is being found. We're already doing a lot of the best practices. We have a website, Facebook business page, we've got Google My Business, but there's a lot more that we can actually do. And so 46%, or at least this is a statistic from about a year ago, 46% of all Google searches are seeking local results. So it's going to be really important that you're targeting the local results there. So people saying lawn care service near me, Manayunk lawn service, mowing my lawn in Manayunk, right? People searching things like that. How can you make sure that you're showing up above a lot of the competition? Well, for one, Google My Business is a great start, right? So if anybody searches Manayunk lawn care, they're gonna find you if that's your name. That's a really big positive there. Secondly, you wanna make sure you're optimizing the website. So the first thing we could do here is use Google search suggestions to identify some good keywords that we might want essentially on our website. So if we go into a private browser, and if you're using Chrome or Brave, you can say Control-Shift-End or Command-Shift-End, and if you go to Google, we want to go to actual Google here, and I know it's weird to type in Google on the search bar, but it's important that you do that here because you want to see some search suggestions. So from Google, you can type in the first half of a keyword, and it'll suggest a lot of extra things at the end. So I could just say, like, start off with the basic one, Manayunk lawn lawn care is one of them. So lawn care services, care schedule. Those are things that Google's telling you a lot of people search. When they type in Manioc lawn care, a lot of people want to know the services. They want to know the schedules as well. So you want to make sure you have that on your website. So start taking notes and writing down some keywords that we might target. And those are two of them right there. We could also say lawn mowing. We could say lawn mowing service near me, lawn mowing service Philadelphia, and lawn mowing service near me prices. People want to know the prices. And so there's 5 good keywords right there that we can target on our website. And so when we're actually building out our website, so let's go back to our website. On the website, let's see, back over here, we can go to pages, and let's just work on maybe the home page, for example. On the home page, let's go down to home, edit with Elementor. We want to kind of target those keywords. Now, it's important that you don't just plaster them all over the entire website. You don't want the same phrase 20 times on there. Google's going to realize you're over-targeting. It's going to flag that, but maybe you want to have it a couple times, maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times here and there. Whenever it makes sense, you want to make sure that Google can scan this and say, oh, this is a lawn care website related to Manioc, Pennsylvania. These are their prices. Like, you want Google to be able to find out where things are, as well as you want customers to be able to find that as well. If you just have a big website that has like, we have professional service, we work really hard, we have great employees. Like, if you just say stuff like that, it doesn't actually tell anybody where you work. It's not targeting those keywords, which is what people are actually looking for. So it's really important to really, the best secret of search engine optimization is working backwards. Think about what the customer wants and what's the best way you can make it as easy as possible for them to get. So something I like to do, and some people do this, some people don't do this, is I like to make a slightly different page for each service region I have. So I'll make one just for Manioc. I'll make one just for Bala Cynwyd. So when somebody searches like Bala Cynwyd lawn care, they'll find my Bala Cynwyd page about all the lawn care I do in Bala Cynwyd. So I'll talk, and it could be a little bit different as well. So for example, Manioc has a lot more like townhomes kind of. So in these townhomes, they're gonna have smaller lawns, and you can kind of cater to that. And you can say, hey, we do weekly mowing. We'll just walk up, we'll cut it real quick. Or somewhere like Bala Cynwyd might be a little bit more of a ritzier area, and you might say, we're gonna do it when you're at work. We're gonna not do this on the weekend. We don't wanna disturb you. And so you can kind of tailor it slightly differently depending on the regions you're working with, but also you can really target the keywords specific for each of them. Like if you have one page that talks about Manioc and Bala Cynwyd and all these different places, well, it might be a little bit more confusing for Google to recommend that. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add a new page. If you wanna add a new page, on the top of pages, we click on Add New, and we're going to just title this one, let's say Manioc lawn mowing, and we're going to edit this with Elementor, and this is just going to be one page about the entire region. Now, rather than building the entire page out from scratch, I'm going to import a template here for an entire page. So this right here, let's just say, actually, maybe we could just import some blocks. I don't really know. All right, so I'm just going to actually use this page right here. We're going to import that template. Maybe not perfect, but you get the idea. We're just going to start with something. And so on this one, I'm going to actually focus. I know I said Manioc, but I think it might be confusing. Let's actually make this page, I'll rename it in a minute, but we're gonna start off and call this, we're gonna call this Bala Cynwyd. So we're gonna call this Bala Cynwyd lawn mowing. This is not the company name, of course, but this is just focusing on that region. So of the many, so we offer weekly. And so in this little paragraph here, that might be a good opportunity to target some specific keywords. So remember we said it would be like Manioc lawn care services, Manioc lawn care prices. We could do the same thing with different regions as well. We could say Bala Cynwyd lawn care prices, Bala Cynwyd lawn care services. So we could say we offer many Bala Cynwyd, and we could say see our pricing chart below. And then maybe down here, this can be like what our services actually are. So let's add a title here. So we're gonna go and say title, and then maybe right over here, we can say, where do we put that? Maybe, I'm not really sure what this thing on the left is actually. I don't like this thing. So I'm gonna go, that's some kind of, looks like some short code there. I'm going to delete that. I don't like that. Similarly, actually this entire column, I really just don't like that. So I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to delete the former one. Delete. Actually, I like it better without it at all. So let's just go with this. And then from here, I'm going to go and add a header above this. I really want it above there. So let's build this out with a title. And then below the title, we're going to add an intersection. And this is where you'd want to use an intersection. If you want everything to be in one, but this is 2 columns, we can take this column and drag it up to right there. So we can click and drag this up here. And while these graphics are great, sometimes it is easier for Google to just kind of read a little paragraph. So I do recommend adding paragraphs here and there that can make it easier to read this stuff. But let's just say what Manioc or Bala-Cynwyd, or just say services we offer in Bala-Cynwyd. And this could be fertilization, shrub planting, grass cutting, things like that. And then with each one, we want to add a little bit below that. And then maybe below, we just add another paragraph just to make it a little bit easier to summarize everything. So let's just go and add down here, we could just add another paragraph, and down there we would just explain some of the basics, more details than just a little graphic. This is easier for people to read. They look at the little icons and say, oh, this is the stuff you do, really great. And then down here, another little paragraph just kind of explaining the more of the details about that. Below here, I don't really see a whole lot of value in this. This looks nice, so maybe keep it on there for people to read it. But again, this is a good page to really be targeting some more specific details for this specific region. And then what you can actually do is you can duplicate pages very easily in WordPress. In fact, if we want to do that right now, so I'm just going to publish this page. You get the idea. We're going to start filling out individual pages that really answer a lot of questions, the pricing, how long it takes, what days we work, where we are. And of course, on every page, you want to have your name. Make sure that you have the name of the business, we have the address, and we have the phone number so people can contact us. And so before we go, and I'm going to show you how to duplicate this in a second, but let's make sure this is really fleshed out. We're going to add down here, we're going to say, actually this will be a contact us. Let's see if we have a block for contact. Contact us. I don't really want a form right there. I want maybe get in touch. This might be a good one right here. Yeah, so I think I like that one right here. Let's import that block. It looks good. We've got social media on the left side. Right here, we could say contact us, let's say get a free quote. And then here we can say, so we can have call us, email us, and maybe meet us, whatever, if you wanted to have that. You get the idea. On the map, that's going to show where you are. On the left side, social media, so people can find you. Actually, I'll change that to Manioc Lawns LLC, the business name. So call us, email us, the name of the business, social media, map, get a free quote. There we go. So now everything that people would possibly want to know about you is all in one place. Make sure that's on every single page of your website in some form. Maybe it doesn't have to be like this, but it's going to be important. You want, it's easy to lose track of the purpose of the website, but number one, without a doubt, is to get people to contact you, to get that quote, and to get you out there and start mowing their lawn. So I'm going to update this. We're going to exit to the WordPress dashboard. So let's go exit to dashboard. And from here, let's just say we want to duplicate this page. Oh, I forgot to rename it. Let's just make sure it's the right name. So if we click on edit, I said you always want to edit with Elementor. There is one time you want to just do regular edit, and that's right now when you're just trying to change the title of it. So this one, we could say lawn mowing in Bala-Cynwyd. And on the right side, this is where you can change the permalink. So this could be Bala-Cynwyd. We'll just have that as the end. So we're going to say update. And that way, when somebody goes to our website, or when somebody types in manioclawns.com/Bala-Cynwyd, they're going to find this page. And also, we have the title of the page making sense right there. Now, for search engine optimization, you also want to make sure that you have some other metadata, is what it's called. So let's go back to the WordPress dashboard, and we're going to get some plugins. We're going to get one to duplicate the page. We're going to get one for some SEO. So if we go down to plugins, we can click on Add New. The first one is going to be called Yoast SEO, so Y-O-A-S-T, Yoast. And there we're going to say install, but you can't just install. As always with WordPress, install and then activate. So install, now we're going to activate it, and then that'll give us Yoast. We're going to have to maybe sign up for it, some basic stuff like that. I'm going to go back to plugins and get the next one, which is going to be, let's say duplicate. Oh, it's actually add new. Sorry, I forgot. Click add new, and now search duplicate. Hit enter, and we should find a duplicate page. There's a lot of different ones out there. So WordPress migration, just look at how many reviews it has. So this has 2 million active installations. That's a lot. Not a ton of reviews, but if it works, it works. People don't really need to review it. So we can probably go and install that one to duplicate our page. Make sure you activate it. And then what we'll be able to do is actually go up to pages, and most of them show you right here. You can duplicate it. So yeah, there we go. So lawn mowing in Bala-Cynwyd, we can duplicate this. I clicked on that with the Apple click thing. Okay. There we go. We've got a draft here. So now let's go to edit and call this one, maybe this is going to be Narberth. Lawn mowing in Narberth. lawn mowing in Narberth. And then down here, make sure you change the permalink to, or the URL slug to Narberth. And we're going to go and edit with Elementor. Actually, we got to save this, save the draft first, and then go edit with Elementor. There we go. So then it'll bring us into this page, and now you can change the text here as well. So we can call this Narberth lawn mowing, and then we could say, just go down and change all the text through here, make sure that everything makes sense. And of course, like I said, this is just one quick example. There's many ways to do that, but I like making a different page for each service region, just so people know that you're servicing, like it really is for them. And one of the good ways you could do this, if you're really if you're struggling on what to put here, how to structure it, just look at other lawn care companies near you and see what's working for them. And you can actually dig into some different tools I'll show you later in the video, again, to see what pages and regions really work well for them as well. Okay, so let's publish this one. You guys are starting to get the idea of how we can build out each of these pages, each of these, all the little, for the different regions that we're dealing with. So let's go back to exit to dashboard. And now I want to talk to you a little bit more about Yoast SEO. So Yoast, again, free plugin, really easy to use on WordPress. You can upgrade it. I usually don't. And down here, we can have some focus key phrases. So for this one, we could say Narberth lawn mowing. That's a long keyword, but maybe you want to have that. And you can always say get related key phrases. Once you set up for your Yoast account, they can suggest other ones. But they're going to show you a preview of your result here, how it's going to show up in Google. So on mobile, it's going to say lawn mowing in Narberth, PA, Manayunk Lawns. That's awesome. That's exactly what you want it to say. Then we can have desktop result as well, and here you can see lawn mowing in Narberth, PA from Manayunk Lawns. I really wish the name of the business was Manayunk Lawns LLC, so I'm going to say, we'll actually change the site title, let's change that right now. So we'll say update, and I'm going to get back to Yoast in a second. I really want to make sure that it says Manayunk Lawns LLC. So let's go back to dashboard. Let's go to the WordPress editor. Let's go down to settings, and then here, Manayunk Lawns LLC. There we go. Manayunk Lawns LLC. That's really what we want this to be called. Make sure we save it on the bottom, save changes. Now we can go back to pages and really optimize that SEO. So once again, going to, let's say the Narberth one. Let's say the Narberth one. We can click on edit, not edit with Elementor, just regular edit. And again, on the top, we've got the title of this. We've got the permalink right there, Narberth. Maybe we want to call it Narberth lawn mowing, Narberth lawn mowing. That would be a good start as well. Cancel. And then down here, the SEO. So the search engine optimization, they're going to tell us a lot about how it shows up in Google. So right now, a lawn mowing in Narberth, PA from Manayunk Lawns LLC. I think that looks really good. Desktop result, once again, it's not cut off. Everything fits well. That's a good title for your search result there. But below, you want to have a little meta description. You want to say something like, call us or our. So we could say something like that, and when people actually see the results in Google, it's going to show that below there. Rather than pulling something from your page, it's actually just going to show that, which again makes it more enticing. You're going to have a better click-through rate for somebody potentially going to your website. So that's what it looks like. We have this lady right here. I don't know. I mean, maybe you want to keep her if you think it's going to help your clicks. But for lawn mowing, I think I'd probably actually go with a different featured image. So on the right side, if we say featured image, set featured image, and we could just choose maybe this one right here. So we're going to say set featured image. There we go. So now that's going to be showing up when somebody searches for Narberth or lawn mowing near Narberth, PA. That's going to be showing up, and that's some really good SEO right there. Going down, we can see SEO analysis. This Yoast is super powerful, and like I said, free, which is awesome. They'll give us a lot of really beneficial things right here, helpful tips. They'll say we need more outbound links, we need more internal links in there, we need the key phrase in the introduction. And so read through this, and it's going to tell you, once you start building out your entire website, what you should add to each page to make sure that it's optimized for search, and it's going to rank better. So like this, key phrase in the subheading, assuming that your key phrase is something that's really going to be searched a lot in Google, like Narberth lawn mowing, then you want to make sure that in the subheading, the H2 or the H3 or somewhere on your page, or just a little paragraph below your header, you want to make sure that you have the words Narberth lawn mowing in there. Now, Yoast doesn't know if you mix it up. I think Google's a little better about knowing that, but Yoast wants to see like verbatim Narberth lawn mowing at least a couple times throughout your page, but not too much. Additionally, the featured image and the other images on there, you want to make sure that they have the alt text that is related to your key phrase again, so that it all makes sense. And going through this, like I said, go through in your own time and start adding one thing at a time. You can actually click on these and it'll tell you more about what it means on Yoast's website. So they'll have a little blog article saying what are outbound links, why do you need them, where do you add them, and things like that. And so super powerful tool. I'm so surprised how many people make a website and don't use Yoast SEO. So I'm going to say update, and that's one page right there. Now let's go back to the dashboard again. And from the dashboard, the next thing you want to do, once you have your website a little bit more fleshed out, you want to make sure that it is optimized for Google in a different sense. Google uses a lot of different metrics to determine what ranks where, and one of the metrics is page load speed. So you got to think, remember how I said SEO, you really think about the other way around. If you are an end user, if you're just somebody and you want to find a power washing company near you, you go on Google, you type in power washing company near me, Google gives you some result, you click on it, and it takes 5 minutes to load the website. You're going to click off, and you're going to think, you know what, Google sucks, Google's not good at finding results for me, and you're going to go to Bing or Yahoo or something like that, right? Google doesn't want that. They want to show you the best websites and give you the best experience so you know Google's reliable, they're always going to find you the best results. And that's why Google's so popular, because they're really, really good at that. And one of the metrics they use is load speed. And right now, by default, our website probably loads really, really slow. So in order to improve that, what we want to do is go to Google Page Speed Insights, Google Page Speed Insights, and then pagespeed.web.dev, that's what it's going to be right there. And we can enter our URL, so I'm just going to type it in by hand. I'm going to hit enter, it's going to analyze. It takes maybe a minute or two to actually do this, and it'll tell you the speed for mobile and for desktop. And like I said, I can almost guarantee this is going to be really slow. Our page speed's probably going to be on the maybe 60 or 70, if that. Maybe even in the 40s, hopefully not, but it's on a scale of 1 to 100. A higher score, closer to 100, is a faster loading page. But the good news is it's actually really easy to optimize your page speed. Oh, 82 is actually way better than I thought. I'm really happy with that as a beginning right there. Desktop, right now it's not working for that, but you can come back here and run that again later. I recommend running this a couple times. It does change, but what we want to do, one of the easiest ways to make it faster, so this is surprisingly fast, but if you have more on your page, it's going to be slower. And we want it to be really ideally in the 90s. We want it to be in the green. And so in order to do that, another plugin we want is actually called Smush. So if we go and add new, so plugins, add new, and type in Smush, hit enter, and this is another free one that you can pay to upgrade. I'm going to install this now, and this essentially will do a couple things. First of all, it'll compress the images, which makes it easier for Google to load them or for the browser to load them. This makes your website substantially faster. It also strips out the metadata. So a lot of images, when you use them, have like pointless information saved on the file, like what camera took it, what the camera settings were, what the date was, maybe even where it was. You don't need all the information. You really just need the information related to what the photo looks like. So it strips all that away. And the third thing is it does something called lazy load, which loads the top of the page first, and then as people scroll, it loads the rest of the page later on. So on the left side, we should see Smush showing up. There it is down on the bottom, Smush. And we can go and begin the setup. So we'll begin setup. We'll say next, 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 and finish setup wizard. Now it's going to check our images. It will compress the images, and then we should have a much faster website. So see if this is done. That was really fast. There we go. So we can bulk Smush now. It's going to do that. It takes a couple minutes to do that, but once it does, you'll be able to check your load speed again, and it really should be a lot faster. So now let's go back and analyze it again. We were at 80, which I wish I analyzed it twice before I ran Smush, because I have a feeling that was higher than it should have been. I really think it should have been in the 60s, but regardless, this should at least boost us up. And if we go to desktop, so that's fantastic. I believe page speed is one of Google's, according to Moz at least, one of their top 4 or 5 metrics. So incredibly important that you have a fast loading website. So let's close out of this and go back to our website. Now there are a couple more things related to SEO that we want to do really quickly before we move on to the next place that we need to build out our brand. So let's start off with the last 2 SEO things. One of them is on the website. So if we just go over to the website here, I want to have this slightly different. I don't want FAQ. FAQ. I don't really want projects on there. Actually, I'd rather put the FAQ on the homepage, to be honest. And I really do want a drop-down that has the different locations that we serve. So remember, we made a different page for each location, like Narberth and Manayunk and all the different places. I want to have those on a drop-down menu. And probably the best way to do that is to make one page that has all of them on there. So let's just say maybe About Us has, you know what? Let's make a new page altogether. Let's duplicate About Us just for the purposes to make this really simple. I'm not going to build out this extra page right now, but let's go to Edit, and let's rename this page right here. We're going to call this one Locations, or Service Locations. Service Locations, Service Regions, maybe Regions is better. Service Regions is probably good. Down here, the SEO, we can call it Service Regions, yeah. And then just a quick edit with Elementor. Maybe, let's save this. And then we can edit with Elementor. There we go. Now it's gonna let us edit that. And within here, you're gonna wanna just, I don't know, write about the different places and kind of just link out to them. So we're just gonna rename this Service Regions. And we're gonna say where we mow. And then down here, we don't need a lot of this stuff. We can get rid of most of these things. And basically, I just want to have like a list of the different places that we mow. So we could say Bala-Kinwood, we could say Narberth. I always mix up Narberth and Norristown. Manayunk, things like that. And so let's just say, okay, we don't want this one either. Let's get rid of that one. And then let's just make this. I really just want it to be one column, right? And so each of these places, we can go and highlight the text, click on the link, and we can add a link to somewhere else. So in this case, we'll say, I think we made one for Narberth, so we can go and highlight this, add a link, and then here we could just say manayunklawns.com / and this would be Narberth, PA lawn mowing. I think is what we called that. I forget what you want to find out exactly what the link is. But that way, when somebody clicks on that, it'll bring them over. Looks like that I did it slightly wrong, but you get the idea. We would link out to those right there. Now, the reason I want to have this page is almost more of a dummy page. Like I don't expect people to really visit this page much. You want to, flesh it out, make it look like a nice page, add some little paragraphs and talk about the regions. But really what I want to do here is click on Update. We'll go back to our menus. So we'll go back to Exit to Dashboard. And this is just one of many ways. There's many ways you can get this up on the navigation bar. This is just one way that I do it. And so if you go down here to Appearance, go to Menus, and we have a menu right here, and we can get rid of things like we don't want FAQ. I'm gonna go and remove FAQ. I don't want projects on the menu. We can remove projects. We have these four, that's good. And now I wanna add service regions. So I click on service regions, say add to menu. That'll add that right here. And now the regions that we're actually serving, you say you have 5 to 10 of them. Let's select each of them. So I only have 2 right here that we built right now. We're gonna add these to the menu, but rather than having them right there, I'm gonna click and drag them over so they are sub-items. So now these are sub-items underneath service regions. So if I just say save menu, and then we actually go to the website and refresh that, it'll show it right here. So when somebody goes to service regions, they can select the region that they like. So they can say Narberth, Pennsylvania. That'll bring them over here and they can find out more about that. Now that is on the header, so whatever page they're on, they can see all the different regions you mow, which is useful for them to find if you serve their area, but also you see the whole list right here. So if they live in Narberth, but maybe their parents live at the town right next, nearby, neighboring town. They can look at it and say, oh, well, you also serve that area. I'll recommend you to my parents. Or maybe if they're older parents, they could say, I'm just going to hire you for my parents. A lot of people would just manage that for their parents. If your parents get older, that's a common thing to do as well. So that's what I would recommend right there. Now, the next thing with this, so we already talked about the menus. The next thing is actually going to be citations. Now, when it comes to, like I said, backlinks are going to be really important, and there's 2 types of backlinks you can get. One of them would be a little bit less relevant, but still important, so you have your name and address and phone number verified, but you want to have links from your Facebook business page, from Angie's List, now just called Angie, from Google My Business, from Yellow Pages, all the different places that you have your business listed. You want to make sure the name, the address, the phone number, also known as NAP or NAP. If you ever see that, that's what that means. Essentially, the contact information is consistent with all of those. And you want the link to always come back to your homepage on your website. That way, first of all, it's going to help your business or your website rank better on Google. And then the second style of citation is actually like a more organic backlink, and that's why you might want to consider doing something like blog posts. And this would be essentially if any other any other, local newspaper website or Forbes or anybody else making a blog wants to talk about something, and you have either a useful tool on your website, more advanced, but maybe someday if you hire a developer and they make like an estimate of how much carbon you use per year mowing your lawn, whatever it might be, something like that, that could be linked by a lot of other places. Or if you just have a really useful article about how to maintain like the perfect lawn on your own, that would be another article that could probably be linked by either local newspapers or anybody around that you think would give you the link. Of course, you have to tell them about it and maybe ask them to give you the link, or at least, if you have a friend who works at the local newspaper, have them publish an article about you and link back to you. That's going to help your business. That's going to help your website a lot, rank higher in Google as you start to get those organic backlinks. So that's a summary of SEO. Of course, there's a lot more to it. It's a whole science, but essentially, if you have a well-maintained website, if you're working hard to keep everything up to date, add useful content, manage everything, and really go through like Yoast SEO and things like that, that's a really good start. But if you want to go further down the rabbit hole and get tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush, those are both great ones. You can look at what links are working for other competitors, what keywords they're targeting, and start going after that with blog posts and pages. Of course, that's a topic for another video, but I highly recommend digging into that. Now, moving on to after this, the other things that we really want to focus on, I mentioned some of the one style of linking would be from listing on other platforms besides just Facebook. And I mean, we have to make an Instagram business page as well. But the next thing you want to do is actually set up Angie or Angie's List. This is not everyone's going to want to do this, but I would recommend at the very least sign up for it. So if you go to Angie.com, you can go over to Join Our Pro Network. From here, we can say List My Business. From here, the service is lawn care. So we're going to say lawn mower, lawn and yard work. Kind of a weird way to word that, but that's what we're going to be listed as. The zip code, we're going to put that in right there. We have lots of opportunities. Sure, whatever. Let's go next. First name. Now we can use our email, our new email, of course, and we can have a password. Then once you're done with all that, that'll bring you to this page here, and you can really populate this. Again, I'm not going to dive too deep into this in this video, but you can run ads and advertise and offer deals and promotions for people that go through Angie right here. That'll be a great way to get a lot of new customers. Again, adding deals, like I said, is going to be a big way to do that. So if you want to advertise, you can do that. You could also just have it listed for free so people can find you, and you really want to just go through and populate your entire profile. So over here, we want to make sure that we go to My Business. We can go to Update My Business, or you just view the profile. And here you want to make sure that you update all types of things. So like, when did you come into business? So 2022. We can upload the company logo right here, the business description. And of course, you want to make that a little bit more fleshed out than that right there. So that's the business description, business highlights. Go through all of these different things down here. And this is going to be all the different things like eco-friendly, emergency service offered. You can start highlighting all the things that work, that make sense for you. Go down to contact information. Of course, you want to just go through, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, populate each one. And in here, you'll find that the more you populate it, the more likely people are to understand more about your business, which gives you fewer annoying phone calls that just ask you pointless questions, but it'll also help you get more customers because they have more information and they're more willing to work with you. There's less uncertainty there. So that's how you'd go about listing on Angie. It used to be called Angie's List. Now they're just Angie. And of course, they really do want you to advertise. Maybe that's something you experiment with. Maybe it's not, but it does exist out there as it is. Now, lastly, I'm going to point you to another video. I'm not going to cover it here because it's not 100% necessary, but a lot of people do like to make a mailing list, an email list, and this would be a great way to upsell different promotions or referrals for other people or offer different services, and this is through something called MailChimp. Now, MailChimp is a very easy way to manage an entire email list. Maybe once you get clients, once people sign up and they want to do a weekly mowing or a bi-weekly mowing, you get their email, right? And so email is a great way to really contact people. Some people like to text or call instead, but email is a pretty simple way to do that. And once you have somebody's email, you can do email marketing to them, which is going to be free. It's going to cost you nothing, and you can send them, I mean, don't bother them. Nobody wants a weekly newsletter from their lawn company, but maybe you want to send them little promotions and say, hey, you know, we're gonna do like a free, it's late in the fall, we're gonna do a free aeration for you if you sign up for next year's, you know, seven time, like we come out 7 times and we fertilize and do different things like that, right? Like you can have little promotions to get things going, and email marketing is an easy way to do that. And again, I have a link, I'll just put it up there, I think, for the full tutorial on how to make, how to set up MailChimp, how to do automated targeting and automated campaigns and things like that. It's really a powerful service. It's also free until you get a really large email list. But for lawn care, I mean, the secret is you probably won't get a massive, many thousands of customers, at least not at first. And so MailChimp is pretty powerful. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. These are some of the tips that we had on how to start a lawn care company. Of course, the actual back-end stuff, we can make an entire video on actual physical advertising, not just digital advertising, but rather going out with yard signs, maybe guerrilla marketing, a little bit secret there. Maybe things like billboards or radio ads. FM radio could be a big one as well. Things like that. We'll make videos like that in the future, but this is how you set up the digital, the backbone of really most modern small businesses. So I hope you liked this video. Consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. See you next time.